Hello, everybody. Right now, I'm going to talk about the war in Ukraine. Not specifically the war in Ukraine, but about Ukrainian drone technology. So, Ukraine's been at war with Russia. Most of you know about that. And because when you're at war and you're actually investing in technology and technological development, you're going to start getting better at some certain things. For example, the Ukrainians were using Turkish drones in the beginning of the war, and they've actually had some development and research on it to make the drones better and more effective. In as few of words as I can, the Ukraine now has the best drone technology on the planet, and it's by a good amount. They have surpassed the United States by a lot. At the beginning of the war, when the Turks would give them drones, the Turkey had the best drones in the world, and now it's the Ukraine. So for those of you who are more informed, you know that's kind of a big deal because Turkey was the place to go for drones for the past couple of years. All right, I'm going to put a link to a video, and it's a change agent. It's part of, I guess, the Ironclad network. I'll put a link in the description. I'm not really too familiar with this network of people, and I'm not too familiar with the host. But about 1752 in the video, it's going to be talking about Germany's role in the Ukraine war. And I'll sum it up for you quickly. Germany's considering putting boots on the ground in the Ukraine war, possibly after a ceasefire or even possibly before, and what they would get in return is full access to all of the military tech in the Ukraine, so drone technology. In the video, it's discussed that Germany's demographic collapse is absolutely horrible. It's just a country filled with people much older than myself. And of course, the German people don't want to actually let any immigrants in the country, because apparently they're so smart. They can really engineer, and they're really good with manufacturing, but when it came time to meet the moment, they just didn't. They prefer to be authoritarian than, I don't know, whatever they're going to be, whatever the alternative was going to be. So I'm going to lay out some scenarios, and none of them are good. The Ukraine is able to actually fight the Russians because of their drone technology. And in that video, Peter Zeihan, I love his podcast, and I love his, whenever he speaks, he said the U.S. wouldn't do that much better if the United States was invading Ukraine, because the technological difference is just that big. All right, so ready for the bad news? Here it comes. If Russia wins this war against the Ukraine, they're going to get that drone technology. They will be the best with drone technology. They're pretty good themselves because they have to do some research and development for it. So they're going to have the best drones, period, if they win this war. So not only are they have an expeditional force already, in the sense that their military could actually fight outside of their borders. And then they're going to be paired with drone technology, which, although they're more defensive, you can actually still use them offensively. That is not good. It's a really dump of a fascist government that's filled with morons that are just greedy, and now they're going to have the best drone technology in the world if they win this war. That would be awful for NATO. It's awful for really anybody that's not Russia. Here's another thing. If the Ukraine wins this war, whoever puts boots in the ground after the ceasefire gets access to the drone technology. And since Germany's probably becoming authoritarian, you're going to have a German technological advantage over a lot of other people, paired with their manufacturing and the fact that they're acting independently in a country that's going through a demographic collapse that's becoming more and more reactionary. You can go ahead and Google German history to see how that ends up. I will not say anything more on the issue. Just go ahead and Google it. Every time that they have power, they usually kill people with it. What I mean by people, it's one of their neighbors and then sometimes their own people. So what's happen if this Ukraine wins the war and the Americans go ahead and put our boots in the ground? Let's either at the ceasefire or before. Then America, that's becoming authoritarian, has better drone technology. That's not going to be good for anybody. It's not going to be good for any of our neighbors. It's not going to be good for the entire Western Hemisphere. So what else do we have? Maybe some other country can put boots in the ground, and they can have better drone technology, and they can keep the United States, Russia, and the Chinese at bay. They're going to have to. Oh, and it gets better, too. The only real chance that this war doesn't end, and it just doesn't accelerate really the end of Western society and global chaos, is if Americans, the fattest country in the world, whose 55% of the country reads at a 6th grade level or lower, and I'm telling you, as a man who's average, who has an associate's degree that dropped out twice out of school along the way to get that associate degree, is still smarter than most of the country, by far. This country has to actually grow up, vote their way out of this fascist takeover, and decide that they want to live in a democracy. Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen either. Even if we can go ahead and beat Donald Trump or whatever this time around, the next time the Republican Party takes power, they will be way worse. So the silver lining. There is no silver lining. This is really playing with fire because the Ukraine cannot hold out against the Russians forever. They just can't. The Russians still have a few more million people they can draft into the army and throw at the Ukrainian war, and a few more million than the Ukrainians can do. And then, the Ukrainians still have the best drone technology in the world that is responsible for killing so many people. And that technology is the true spoil of this war. Now, the Ukraine still has, they can have like potash, titanium, black soil, and now they have the best drones the world's ever seen. And as soon as that power falls into the wrong hands, well, that's going to be bad for anybody that's a good person. So keep your head up, America. Liberal America, and I'm part of liberal America, has a problem showing up in voting. So if we have this problem showing up in voting these next couple election cycles, then you will know that it will all be temporary. That means the authoritarian movement that is in our country will just come back and win. Oh well, so keep an eye on this midterms, because I really think that it'll have to do with the power balance of the world. And will Americans, we're some of the fattest and stupidest people on the planet, come and save the world and the very country we live in? It remains to be seen. All those little idiots you've met in your life that have been building bunkers and collecting rations, I used to think those people were stupid. And I'd like to live in a world where I still think those people are stupid. Hey, thanks for checking out the video. If you want more content like this, like and subscribe. If you want notifications every time new content is dropped, ring the bell.